this Sunday. Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gas, but mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands for the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Shake hands with danger. Meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe. I was young.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Three-Finger Joe. Our good friend Scotty Gossip, who does our intro song, is usually right all year long, but today he didn't get it right because it's not Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. It's Ray Guarino and MatcoMan Brian. Brian, how are you today?
We are doing great.
Excellent.
We're trying to wrap up the end of the year, getting ready for something new and exciting, and just going for the ride. Put the seatbelt on and rev it up and drop the clutch.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And you hope you have a scatter shield. Yeah, it's great having you back. You're one of our go-tos, of course, when Chris is out doing his other things. We love having you in, and the listeners love having you in too. You know, we got a lot to catch up on. We didn't do a Thursday night show this week.
Yep.
Because of the holidays, but. I don't know if we're going to do this the next week either. I haven't talked to Lewis. We're going to have to find out. But yeah, we wrap up, yearly wrap up. I meant to ask you a week ago, did you do the, was there any ball busting on the tool truck this year?
No, there wasn't. I'm
Explain.
going to tell you, it's really weird how everything at the very end just came to the end.
Okay.
There was, 1 minute you're like, oh yeah, I got 2 weeks, and next thing you know, it's a day after, and you're like, what the heck?
Well, if you look, yeah, that happened with everybody. I mean, the way Thanksgiving and Christmas fell, we were like a week short. So
it feels like it.
It definitely was. We were a week short, so everybody's timeline was compressed. And my wife and I, every day we were saying, okay, what do we have to do? Which stores are we getting the food from, and this, that, and the other, and Christmas shopping, this, that, all the stuff that had to be done, and where are we going? When do we have to be there? Oh my God. Yeah, it was quite, that's why I made sure, now being retired, I was able to do this. I got the work done at the shop that I had to do, so I could just say, that's off my plate now. I don't have to worry about being there to get cars, done so they could go to the next stage. And that really took a load off, man. That really helped a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm usually pretty good about, well, with the tool business, you're 3 weeks ahead. Whatever you do today affects about 3 weeks ahead of you. So you're always planning ahead or thinking ahead. And it's just like at the end of the year, I usually start inventory and get that stuff ready, and next thing you know, I'm like, I got to close out today.
That's interesting you say that, because a lot of people listen to this show do use tool trucks. We go on the tool trucks, but really, it's a business. People don't think of it that way, but it is a business, and you have constraints and all sorts of scheduling that none of us, I mean, I've learned about it because I talked to you on the Thursday night show and other times, but otherwise, yeah, I have no idea what's the dynamics on the tool truck. There's a lot more than I ever thought was going on, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah, well, I get a lot of guys say, "Oh, I'd love to have your job. You just drive around and collect money." And I'm like, "Well, I'll trade with you any day."
I've said something similar. I said I'd love to have your job because I'd love to drive around all day and just talk and play with tools because that's what I like to do. But yeah, there's more than goes. It's, you can sell the sausage and peppers up front, but somebody's got to make it in the back, right?
Yeah. And we have our expo this year is later. We usually do in February, and I think it's like in May now. They moved it. So they geared up for the first quarter. We have a real burst of new items and things going on, and trying to plan for all that and hope everything comes in at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Usually you start talking about something, you got to make sure that it comes in a couple of weeks, or you're kind of walking around going, okay, plan B.
Right. Well, what exactly goes on with the with that show? Because again, there's people who don't know. Is it just a reason to get together and have a vacation, or is it a reason to get together and get away from your wife, or what's the real?
Well, it's a lot of things to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
And like I said, but it's a good time to get away. We do have seminars, product knowledge. We have, like Luke Tucker from Easy Red,
Right.
and all those guys, and Lyle, Eddie, and all those guys. They're there. They're showing us their new stuff coming out. We're planning promotional stuff.
Right.
This will be coming in this quarter or that quarter coming up. And like I said, a lot of it is getting to meet other distributors throughout the country, and tell war stories and all kinds of stuff, and learning other things from other guys.
That's that's interesting you say that, because that's to share that information is a great idea. I think that's really cool. And you know what else is a great idea? To answer the phone, we're going to kick that off and say, hi, caller, you're on with the Motor Mouths and Brian.
What's up? It's Christian.
How are you, Christian? Good to talk to you.
Hey,
got
Christian.
How you guys been?
Good. We've been, taking care of our own, doing stuff. Chris is away this week. He's on a little sojourn, so I got MatcoMan Brian in with me today.
Oh, cool. Hey, I got a box. I just remembered I finally found a Matco guy out in Brentwood.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get I got to fix the drawers on the one box, that performance series. I got the ball bearing slides. Mine messed up, blew apart actually.
Wow. Yeah.
But then again, I had so much stuff. I had so much stuff in that box at one time. It was pretty well loaded. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Performance Series box was an awesome box, and they took a lot of weight.
I bought that box from George Dowd. I don't know if you remember George Dowd.
I remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my Matco guy that started in the 80s.
I never had a Matco guy or a Mac guy. I only, when I started, there was a Snap-on guy that was in the area, and that's all I ever had. I never was on a Matco truck until actually, I still haven't been on a Matco truck because there's when it comes to the shop, but I'm not down there when they come. They don't come to the shop that I'm at. So yeah.
What did I? Oh, you know what? I meant to. I was going to text you one day because the sighting. There was a Mack truck rolling around in Brentwood there at Islip, and I'm like, oh wow, look at that! I had to take a picture of it. A Mack truck. I haven't seen one in so long.
When I same thing. I saw one in Merrick and North America. And I took a picture of it too. I was like, hey, look, it's found in the wild. Is this?
We're terrible.
Yeah,
we're like crazies. People wouldn't understand how we think, right?
Right. Exactly.
Everyone's like, oh my God, it's a drone. I'm like, I don't care about drones. Look, a Mack truck.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, God.
Okay. Well, since we're weirdos, anyway, on that note,
yeah,
I will let you guys go. I just kind of chimed in. Oh, we should dedicate today's show to my friend Manny Rosa, who decided to go on a venture. We picked up a Honda Goldwing a couple months back.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he was on a mission from God, and he wanted to ride this bike to Florida.
Oh, boy.
And the bike was sitting for years, and we got it running like a couple of days before Christmas. Would you believe he hopped on this bike and rode down to Florida the other night? God
bless him. And he made it?
Well, no.
Oh.
So, I was like, I'm like, dude, you know how I roll. I'll get something running. It has been sitting around for a couple of years. You get it running, do little trips. You know, you do your short trips and you go a little longer, a little further. You know, he bonsai'd the other night. Just ran it, went down. He hit me up. He was in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
The weather was getting warmer. I'm like, you're crazy. But he was on this mission he wanted to do before the end of the year.
Right.
Finally, 1:30 or Christmas Eve, 1:30 it was like 1:30. He's like, I don't know what happened. He lost all power. It turns out the fusible link went.
Oh.
And he's on the side of 95 trying to get this thing. I gave him I had just done some ballast at the shop or something. I had some copper wire laying around.
Yeah.
And I had given him some copper wire, and he put it in a saddlebag with the bare minimum of tools and everything.
Of course.
And I'm like, man, you're crazy. But he did it, and even with breaking down, he managed to get a U-Haul on Christmas Day.
Wow.
And get to where he had to go to Miami.
Okay. Wow,
and,
Miami.
But yeah, right? Crazy. But he wanted to do this ride. It was just something he wanted to do. So I give him kudos for that.
Definitely.
Back in the day, I was like that.
And what's his name again, Christian?
Manny Rosa.
Manny Rosa.
You could title the show "White Knuckling and Snotsticles."
Snotsticles. Okay. I know on those early Goldwings, the thing you have to do as precautionary maintenance, there's a belt system. It's all driven by belts, and you got to change those belts. You got to change the belts. I learned everything. See, I purposely don't want to know much about Goldwings because I don't want to work on them. You know? Right.
But this one in particular shares the same junction block as a Honda Civic and the fusible link.
Wow.
So the fusible link, if you were to order it, it's the same for a Honda Civic or a Honda Goldwing. Some parts will cross over. Same thing with the alternator and those things. But
I'll tell you, back in the day, in the 70s, when I was riding a Honda, the rectifiers would always go bad on those things, and the charging systems were crap. But I found out since I was working in an auto electric shop, I was rebuilding a foreign alternator. I said, hey, this rectifier looks awful similar to the one that's in my bike. All I had to do was where there was a stud, I needed a flat terminal, so I'd do a little bit of cobbling and bend something here and there. And Honda wanted like $120 for a rectifier at the time. Yeah. And when I told my boss, look, I need one of these rectifiers. What for? I need it for my bike. All right, it's like $12. I was like, nice.
Well, we're using a guy around the corner in Islip now to rebuild alternators and starters. Actually, I'm donating a lot of cores to him.
Oh, good.
But he just fixed Ken at Orient had just fixed a BMW, the K100.
Oh yeah.
It's a Bosch alternator.
It is a car alternator with just a different snout. That's the same one that's in my bike. Yeah.
Crazy. This Goldwing, though, I tell you, he hopped on this thing. He rode it around the neighborhood a little bit and then just went for it. Bike was sitting for a couple years. We had to put a fuel pump in it to get it to run. We never took the carburetors off. Got all the way down to Georgia with just breaking $100 for fuel.
Wow.
And mind you, the GL 1500, it's a 6-cylinder, so it's a flat.
Right.
That's pretty good.
They're geared for the highway, though. They're made to run like that, so that's good.
Well,
speaking
20-degree weather, I couldn't believe it, but I can tell he had that look in his eye that he wanted to do this trip for some reason. So I was like, well, no stopping him. I couldn't talk him out of it. Like, you're crazy.
Speaking of carburetors, Christian, I did another Holly, and I did it in the ultrasonic, of course, and I was using simple green. I think I made a cocktail. I don't know. And I didn't like the way the metal looked afterwards. It kind of gave it a weird, funky. And I got turned on to a guy on YouTube who said to use pine sol on the aluminum stuff. So I may have a carburetor coming up at the UD I have to do, and I'm going to try it with the pine sol. So, just to throw it out there.
I got the vapor hone now too at the shop.
Nice.
I could vapor hone, but what I'm going to try and do with the Holly stuff is after I vapor hone them, I'm going to zinc them and then yellow chromate them to get that yellow chromate look back.
I used to do that, with the what was it? Not East. Yeah, Eastwood used to sell it in a can, and it was so. You were on the razor's edge because you're either too light or too dark, and either one of them didn't look right. So I just stopped doing it.
Yeah, I think it's something with the heat too.
Yeah.
So I think with the heat and the pine sol seems to be the trick, but the problem with the pine sol is you got to get it rinsed off completely,
right?
Because the pine sol will affect the finish too.
Okay.
Be careful with that. But you know how once you find what works, and you stick with it.
Well, I figured it this way, at least, the garage will smell good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I just washed the floors. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize with the motorcycle carburetors, we deal with a lot of rubber manifolds.
Yes.
And the best thing for that is the wintergreen oil.
Okay.
That seems to bring those back to life.
Nice. Yeah, because they're not always available. Yeah.
But anyway, my friend Manny made it to Miami. I've been ordering parts on eBay and having them shipped down to where he's at. But I found some block from a bike they're parting out in Hastings, Florida. It's like crazy how technology works, right?
Wow.
Well, listen. Stuck on the side of the road. I got parts on the way.
The next thing you got to send Manny is the phone number to this show and tell him to call in. I want to hear a report on the road trip.
Yeah. Well, he's going to bonsai back. I got another trip for him to do to Iowa, but, he just had to do it. It was just one of those moments where he just kind of left in the middle of the night, and I'm like, hey, did you leave yet? And, I didn't hear from him, and he hits me up, hey, I'm in North Carolina. I'm like, holy cow.
It's only 700 miles. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, really. Without even testing the bike out completely. And when I tell you, when we picked the bike up, it was laying on its side.
Oh, God.
Into the ground, and it was sitting like that for a couple years. It was like, what? He got the bike for free.
Do you have any pictures of that, like what the bike looked like before he rode it?
It still looks the same. It's still got mud on it. I'm telling you, we didn't clean the bike.
But do you have a picture of it that you can send me? Because I'll post it on this week's posting for the show.
I got a picture of it on the flatbed on the 95. I got a picture of U-Haul and a picture of it parked in Miami. And a picture of Long Island in the winter. Yeah.
Send me some pictures like today or tonight, now because I make a post tomorrow. I'd love to include them.
White knuckling and snotsticles.
You got it. Thanks, Christian.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. So long. Brian, did you ever do that? Did you ever just like take a road trip like that people said would be crazy?
Yeah, well, not that long of a road trip, but there were many a times after doing something to the car, to the Mustang, and you just kind of get in and you're like, I'm just going to go around the block, and next thing you know, you're cruising down.
You're in the Delaware Tunnel.
Yeah, you're going through the Baltimore Tunnel, with the open headers, but like I said, it's amazing when we get to that point and just want to go for that ride. Or I used to love it when I worked at the dealership. It never failed. They'd come out and say, hey, is this car going to be done today? And you're like, yeah. And you just did a major thing to it, and then you find out the guy's going to Florida.
Right.
Like he's going to come pick it up, pay for it, and drive off. And you're like, dude, you know what I've done to this car? I mean, at least give it a day.
But that's why he wanted to have all that done, so he could have peace of mind and say, hey, these guys did it. I trust them. If something goes wrong, it's on them, and I'm just heading to, we're going to Miami.
Yeah, I'm like, we did a lot of work, you just can't. Well, that's why I had all this stuff done. And you're like, you planned the day before. So I don't know.
I've told certain people whose cars I worked on at the shop recently, the guy with the 442 and the guy with the Mustang, I said, just because you're getting this car back, don't think that it's like you just bought it from the dealer again. I know it's like a new car again, but things need to be checked. And he did bring that car back to me a couple weeks later. I had to do a little bit of a couple little touch-up things. And I showed him, I said, look, this here things loosen up. You got to go around and just, snug things up and be diligent and, and just give it the eyeball, make sure everything is okay. So yeah, without a doubt, that stuff.
Yeah, that was, like I said, that was always crazy. The mindset, or, the same thing, you get a car that had been sitting and you get it back running again. And the guy's like, well, this is like a new car now, right? And it's like, well, I didn't rub that kind of pixie dust on it. It's
no. I'll tell you something interesting. My car, my Pontiac, is back in the body shop now because that incident that happened to me at the cruise night where the deck lid went up being past 90 degrees. So it's in the shop now. And I was over there the last 2 days. Taking it apart and get ready for the right away the one guy comes over, he starts sanding on it. I'm like, he's like, oh my, I'm not made for body work. I'm like, this is like beautiful paint. He's just like sanding it now. Oh my God. But I have to talk with the shop owner and his son and looking around the car. I learned something. Even though this car went out and it looked great, now they're looking at it under different lights in a different perspective and finding little flaws with the way the car went out from after it was done the last time. Now, I didn't notice any of them because I don't have that body man's eye. I mean, I have a good eye for detail. They have that super dialed in, fine magnifier loop detail, where they can see like, oh no, he should have sanded this way instead of that way. I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah.
So, and he told me, he says, yeah, you know what? He goes, no cars are really perfect unless you're spending 1,000 hours on that paint job. They're just not. I said, okay, that's okay. I didn't expect show quality perfect. Believe me, the car looked phenomenal the way it was. But now a lot of that stuff's going to be like there was a little style line by the rear window that was more pronounced on one side than the other. That means when they did a little bit of plastic work, it got buried, and the guy who did it, never checked.
Right.
I never even noticed it, So things are going to get redone. But I had a real scare the other day. I meant to alert them on something, and I forgot when I left the shop. And the next morning, I got a text saying, "Oh yeah, the metal guy, Steve, who's great. Steve calls the show. He's a fantastic body man, old school body man." Said, "Steve, yeah, we had to take the rear glass out. They found that the seam back by the deck lid, I guess it like some of the lead came out from that force of the deck lid, and they want to do a little welding." And I immediately went, "Oh!" So I sent Mike a text right away. I said, "Did he remember to disconnect the battery?" Yeah, because now, my car, even though it's a 65, it's got a computer in it. We know how welding and computers don't match. So he said, "No, I don't know, but I think he used like some kind of a box." Well, it ends up he did. He used it's like a battery surge protector.
Yeah. Yep.
That I took a picture of it. It just and it's like this a deck and a half of cards big with 2 clamps, and all I could guess is it's either like an RLC network or at least a heavy capacitor to take any kind of back surge, because he said they use it on all the new cars and they never have any trouble when they weld. So
yeah, luckily he's been not brainwashed, but muscle memory just to put it on the car when they weld.
Yes.
They do so many, and a lot of guys, a lot of newer cars, everything new has to have it with all the computers and everything like that. And unless, like you said, the car comes in and it's that mangled up where the battery's taken out of it or the front clips off of it type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, those surge protectors, I sell them. And it's just one of those mystery in the black box. We don't ask questions. We just use it.
I want to open one up. Because I know, like, just from my electrical experience, it's got to be some kind of a giant diode, or it's got to be a capacitor that'll eat the surge. But the box isn't that big.
No.
And I was telling my friend Kevin, who's with me yesterday, I said, I don't think it's solid state, because solid state components, as good as they are for everything else, aren't really. Well, they are. You do get a surge protector that's solid state, but that's made for, that's not made for welding surge. It's made for like, a quick spike. So I'm really curious what's inside that box. I really am. And I know it works because he uses it on everything. His was kind of beat up already. He's been using it for a while. And he said, yeah, with all the new telemetrics and everything in the new cars, customers get real rankled when none of their memories are set anymore. And, and this prevents that. They leave the battery connected. So, yeah, it had me start from it. So I'm like, oh no, call Holly and get another ECU. What's that going to cost?
You have to relearn everything that's already learned, right?
Well, that's the good thing. And what I did is the morning that I took the car there, I turned the key on, and the first thing I did is I went back I fired up the sniper, and I told it to update. Because it updates parameters as you drive. And then I went in and I backed up the mapping. I backed it up to the memory card.
Does it have actually like a memory card?
Well, not a flash drive. It actually has
flash drive,
a little memory card like you'd put in a camera or one of those SD memory, and the card is in there. So as you drive, it writes to the map and it kind of saves it. But when you do a hard save, it writes the code back onto that card. So now you can take that out and plug it into your computer and open the software and see everything, Yeah,
you gotta slow it down, Ray, because I'm still old school because I have a floppy disk in the Mustang.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I made sure that I at least had the updated code saved. So if something happened, I'd be able to just, it'll just reload and be okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did they have a time frame on how long, or is it just when they have time to work on it? No big rush. Wait
Well,
until spring.
no. The good thing is in this shop, they're a busy shop and space is at a premium, as you know.
Oh yeah.
So my car is now on a lift and it's taking up space, and it's not the kind of car that they're going to shove outside or, stick in the yard or whatever. So it's going to be worked on. So, and the big thing is they're going to repaint a lot of the car, and they were fighting with trying to get the right paint formula. So, and it ends up, with the metallics and all, it was giving them a little bit of a fit, but I think they figured it out. Looks like yesterday they figured it out. So,
Yeah, it's really, I'm not a paint person or a body guy in general. I'm always amazed because I watch, I see progress in all the shops I go into. I'll go into a shop and, I see it at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, over a month's time.
right.
And it's always amazing how they just can cut a section out of a car and put it in and get it and get the paint to match. And some of these paints are crazy with metallics or the colors.
Funny you say that, because on today's Sunday, so I guess it was Thursday I was there, and Steve was working on a late model Challenger, and the left rear quarter was, I guess the car had been blasted in a quarter. So he had it on the rack, on the table with the pole, and he had he had the chain welded, and he was doing a pull on that quarter. And I said, wow, I'm surprised. I thought you'd be changing this quarter. He goes, I am. But that's the mistake people make who don't know body work. I'm like, okay, what? He goes, guys will just cut that quarter off, weld a new one on, and now nothing lines up. The gaps don't line up. The gaps you have now are the gaps you're going to have then. He goes, you have to pull it with the bad panel on and get your gaps lined up as best you can. Then you put the new panel on and the gaps will line up. He goes, it's a step that a lot of guys missed years ago. And so Thursday, there's the car with this crumpled quarter with a chain on it. It looked like Mark Warman, at the graveyard cars. It was pulled. I go there the next day. He's already got the quarter cut off, and he's getting the new one. And by yesterday afternoon when I left, the new quarter was on and welded. And I mean, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It's amazing. Like I said, I watch, and those guys just, like I said, cut a section out of a car and put it right back in, and it's down the road. So
know what they're doing, boy. A good body.
Yep.
I have a lot of respect for a body man. And there's all sorts of levels of guys in the shop too, because like Steve is a heavy man, but he can do finish. Some of the guys do nothing but finish work and in the interior. There's always guys that do different things. Some guys, and there's always a lot of crossover. But it's funny. You look at the one guy's tool cart that he rolls around, and it looks like a porcupine cart. It's just like every clip tool. That's the guy who had bought some tools from you. It's like every clip tool imaginable is in there, and there's a 1/4-inch drive ratchet and extension, and some 1/4-inch sockets, and a pair of pliers. It's like nothing else, and some lights. It's like, the other guy's cart, the heavy man, he's got like giant sledgehammers and, sawzalls and all, and everybody has their own, I say, man, it's easy being a mechanic. I know I need sockets, I need wrenches, I need extensions. You don't need,
you don't need a lot if you're just, especially on one side or one part of it.
Exactly.
Other than they like to leave a lot of their tools in the car and drive down the road, and that keeps me in business.
I've seen that happen all the time. In fact, one of the guys at the shop where I am, I asked him once. He said he came over to me because the country he was from, he worked with his dad doing mechanical, and he'd watch me and come over once in a while. But every time I got a car running that was like a revitalization, he was bang right there for the startup. And he's like, oh, I love the smell. I love the noise. It's great. It reminds me of being in my country with my father. I was like, cool. Okay. And he says, yeah, you're the mechanic. You're the mechanic. I'm like, yeah, I am. You're the body guy. So he says, yeah. He says, I watched you. I'm like, yeah. I said, well, I've watched you too, but it's not in a creepy way. But I said, so what were you watching? He goes, I noticed, when you work with your tools, he goes, a lot of times you'll do something and you'll go back to your toolbox, wipe off that wrench or the ratchet and put it back in the toolbox. I was like, yeah. I said, that's right. I said, because I don't want a stack of tools at the end of the day. I know if I'm not going to need that again, I put it right back. And the tools that I am using, they all get put back later. I said, well, that's right. I said, now I've watched you too. I said, and I see you got tools everywhere. 3 carts. The car is filled with tools. The top of your toolbox is filled with tools. There's stuff rolling on the ground. Oh, I always lose. I said, don't tell me. 10mm sockets and bits from your bit. Yeah, I lose them all the time. I was like, I know, because I found a couple and I've tossed them up on your toolbox.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, when you're working fast like that with those small tools, I don't know.
Well, it's all in the way you were trained.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It is.
And, some guys, there's nothing wrong with it, but, like I said, it gets expensive. When you keep losing the same thing, you kind of start learning to
And that's
take care of it.
That makes sense to me now, why the tool companies like Matco, Snap-on does it. I don't know if Mac does. I think even Harbor Freight does it now. They sell a rack of all the 10mm sockets, short, maybe short, medium, deep, swivel, impact, whatever else is out there. And I said, now I know why, because that's the refill kit.
Yep.
That's the refill. But
Definitely.
and I saw it too, because this guy, once I looked a little closer, I realized, he had some name brand tools, but now most of the stuff he was getting was all Harbor Freight stuff. And I asked him why. And he says, oh, I can't afford to go back on the tool truck. If I had to buy a socket every time I needed one, too much money. I go there and I buy like 3. I was like, okay, it's the old, cost per pound issue. I said, well, how about just paying closer attention to where your tools are and not losing them? He's like, oh, things happen. I'm like, things. So what happens in the body shop stays in the body shop is what you're saying, right?
Sometimes, yep. Especially when I like when I go home, especially during the winter time, because it's darker sooner. But when you're driving down the road and you see the light that's stuck underneath the car going
Right.
down the road, so
Right.
gave the guy free graphics.
Exactly. So it all came full circle to me, because then I said, yeah, this is what happens. And then the other guy who's there, who's really he was a prep guy. Then he started doing plastic. Now he does take apart and put back. He really progressed fast. He's very good. He bought himself a tool cart, and it's filled with Harbor Freight tools. But he has everything in the packages, in the rails. It's all very neat. And I asked him once, I said, why did you go, Harbor Freight? Well, he goes, in his broken Spanish, he goes, I'm not a mechanic. You're a mechanic. He says, I'm not a mechanic. I just need this stuff occasionally. And I said, okay, that's pretty smart. You're not using the ratchet set all the time. You don't need, much impact stuff at all. You need real light duty stuff. And I said, okay, I guess that fills the void for a lot of these guys, I guess. And I was thinking, I said, yep. And that's why Brian will always have business in the Harbor Freight parking lot. There'll always be guys out there.
It was funny. Last weekend, was it last weekend? I think it was last weekend. I was hanging out at the Harbor Freight with my ticket book and my list. And it was kind of funny that one of my shop owners had walked by, and I was still outside, and he saw me, and he like opened the door but closed it and kept walking. Like he didn't want me to catch him going in there.
Right. Exactly.
And I said, hey, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm looking for deadbeats, guys that haven't paid in a while.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh wow. And he said something, and I told him, I said, it really doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There's a place for everything.
Yeah.
And some of those consumables or one-time use, I can't see spending that kind of money for that. But I just thought it was funny. He was like getting ready to open the door and caught me, and like kind of was going to walk on. But
I'll tell you, I got a good story, but it's bottom of the hour. We got to take our break. I want to talk about tool storage, because that came up this week. And you just mentioned something else where with expendables, I brought in my old receipts from when my car was painted a couple of years ago, and they were trying to find a paint formulation, but they were looking down the list of the consumables, the thinner, the primer, and all. And he was saying, oh my God, look, and he asked me, does this cost X amount then? You know what it costs now? And I was shocked to hear what he said. So we'll get to that in the second half, but let's take our bottom of the hour break. And I will tell the fine listeners that they can listen weekdays to on this station, the Nassau Mix. It's the best of 2K through today, featuring the hit songs you know and some deeper album cuts from artists you already love, with a focus on the up-and-coming hits before they are hits. We're making hits here at WHPC. That's on the National Mix weekdays. I have to look out my WHPC weather window. My weather forecast today is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. And when I look out the weather window, I don't like what I see, because I'm sure it's pretty much the same like you. It's like the color of our shirts today, gray, and mine is dirty. I don't know. I get these Matco shirts. They come pre-greased up. I don't know how they do it.
Pre-stained like you're doing some work.
I know. It's pretty good. I can do nothing and still say I'm busy. Today, yeah, showers end in the late morning. It wasn't raining when I came in. Then mostly cloudy with high of 56. It is warmer. I'll validate that. Tonight, they're saying showers again, becoming a steady rain overnight, low of 52. Tomorrow, showers in the morning, then partly cloudy, high 55. We're ending the year on a gloomy note. And with that, do you have any words you'd like to add to this bottom of the hour break, or are we?
Well, the only thing I can think of, and it's probably what I said last year, because we looked and I did the show at the end of the year last.
Yes, you did.
And I've gotten better, but I'm not 100%. But pick up a wrench and work on something.
Yeah.
Get something done.
You know, that's what my buddy Kenny Wessel, has a YouTube channel called Wrenching with Kenny. I suggest you check it out, because he's a real mechanic. He's from up here in New York, but right now he's down in North Carolina, and he does live uncut videos of him working on projects, and his tagline at the end is, keep wrenching. And he's right. He's like, you got to do that. You got to keep wrenching and all that.
Life is too short. Before you know it, you got the arthritis in the fingers. You can't move around. You got to crawl around on the ground. Just get out there and do something.
Got that right. So, like I was talking to Rob Lennon about before the show, our good friend Pepe Marcello, who passed from the Good Rats, we'll do a little bit of a tribute for those guys, and we'll be back with more Motormouth Radio with Ray Guarino and MatcoMan Brian today, as soon as we take care of these breaks. So keep it where you got it on 90.3 WHPC.
With answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the motor mouth thing.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limbrook and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Okay, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my buddies at, what's the name of it again?
Motormouth Radio.
Hey, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my friends at Motormouth Radio. Sunday morning, I don't know what this fat bald guy's laughing about. You'll forget stuff soon enough too, my friend. Be sure to listen. When are you guys on? 10 a.m.?
Sundays at noon.
Noon on Sundays.
Excellent. This was
no, you got the promo for the best one was the first one. That's why I was, because you said, what was the name of this again? That's the promo.
What better presentation could you do than that?
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Oh, no, I never thought I'd get this far. Now I'm over on the radiator overheating, but I can't get my foot off the gas.
That's it. That's a great song, Mr. Mechanic by the Good Rats. And I tell you what, when we had Pepe Marcello in the studio, I asked him about that. I said, Pepe, he's hey, Ray. He goes, I appreciate you want to have me on the show, but what am I going to talk about? I'm a musician. I'm not a car guy. I said, Pepe, you wrote Mr. Mechanic. For Christ's sake, I mean, come on, that's like it's perfect. He goes, someone help me write that. He goes, I could tell you how to get lucky in the back seat of a car. I can't tell you how to fix the damn thing. so ring the bell. Here we go. Yeah, the good rats. I love the great guys.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, well, you can get in on this too. You can play with us. 516-572-7440. Call and get in on it. Tell us your what you did this year that you didn't get to do on your car, maybe, or maybe what you want to do in the coming year. Guys have we can make resolutions, right, for our cars as well. And and we'll talk cars and shop and tools, and I love it's all stuff I love talking about. So anyway, so we were talking about tool storage, and my buddy Kilowatt Kevin came to help me out at the shop yesterday because with the bumpers I wanted another set of hands, and I was explaining to him how his son has quite a lot of tools, and I actually have we do have a caller here, so we'll reserve that and go to the phones and say, hi, Coley, you're on with the Motor Mouths, Ray and Brian.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Brian. This is Steve from West Hempstead. How you guys doing?
Hey, Steve. How are you?
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Had a Merry Christmas and hope you guys have a very happy and prosperous New Year.
Thank you, Steve. Same to you. We don't hear from you as much as we like, but we love hearing from you when we do.
All right. Well, I will definitely make an effort to improve that.
Please do.
I got a quick question.
All right.
You know a good, independent, honest Toyota mechanic?
Oh, wow. I got to say, like a dealership? You're talking about like at a dealer level?
Well, preferably independent because the dealerships charge you an arm and a leg per hour,
Oh, that's true.
Like an independent shop that does Toyotas.
I would, there's been a bunch of Honda guys around, but not Toyota that I know of. I'd have to look around and then poke around and ask some questions. And,
okay.
But off the top of my head, I can't give you an answer to that, unfortunately.
All right. Not a problem.
But what kind of Toyota do you have that needs work?
It's not mine. It's a friend of mine. It's a 2012 Toyota, and I forget the exact model. But they're telling him he needs an engine, and I think they're trying to hose this guy,
Well, depending what the issues are. I know my daughter has a RAV4 with a 4-cylinder, and they were known for, pistons, for rings sticking into piston lands and burning oil.
Very common.
Her car was doing that, and through years of chemical work, adding chemicals slowly, I actually got them to free up and kind of stop doing it. So at some point, it becomes a failure, and you got to change the short block. But you may have another issue. I don't know. But
yeah, he might have. Yeah. So all right, sounds good. All right, I'll jump off so somebody else can jump on. Like I said, you guys have a healthy and happy, and stay out of trouble.
I can't afford to get in trouble.
Brian, take care, Ray.
All right,
take care. Yep.
Bye-bye. All right, 516-572-7440. Be like Steve and use your finger, as Chris likes to say. So, yeah, we were talking about tool storage, and I explained to him how tool storage has changed a lot over the years. That's one of the things I've seen change in the last 6-8 years, quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And now you would know because you're on the front line, guys who use one storage system, do many guys switch over to the next version, or do they kind of stay with what they got, like me?
A lot of guys will stay with it. The hardest part about tool storage is finding something that you like.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through many different phases of storage, and I always seem to come back to one particular way, and that's using just the rails. I'm not in, some guys, they want to use the little peg holders. They want to use a magnetic tray. Some guys, it's really big right now is the foam, where they cut out the foam and they put everything in.
Right.
And I've tried a lot of different ways, but I've always just gone back to having a rail. And of course, luckily the rails have gotten better, because back in the old day, the metal ones would lose their tension and the stuff would fall off.
Oh. Pocket rails?
Yeah, the socket rails, you
Okay.
know, the old metal ones, and now they have the plastic ones,
Right.
which are far better. And I've switched over. I went with these for many years. Was the magnetic,
Right.
it was a magnetic box, or you
Right.
know, and it had a place to put them in.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And I spent a gazillion dollars, changed everything over, and I just ended up right back to the rails again. So,
I was telling Kevin about that, and one of the things when I first saw those, I was at the shop, the main shop, and the guy was working on a car near the door, and there was some metal on the wall, and he had this rail of sockets stuck to the wall. I'm like, huh? And I realized like the tray was magnetized and all the sockets stayed in it. You could put them underneath the chassis, and that was off the Snap-on truck that he got those. So I had bought a couple of sets of sockets off the truck that came in those trays, and I like them because you can take them with you. Like if you want to go outside, you could take that whole tray with you and
Right.
just stick it on something. Of course, when one's missing because the space is open. But I asked the tool guy one day. I said, "Listen, are these things available separately?" He goes, and he opened the drawer, and in a drawer full of them. He goes, "Yeah, I got plenty of guys. They buy them, they take the sockets out, and they leave the tray behind." I said, "Well, can I have some of them?" And he did. He gave me a handful, and I kind of made up other little trays. As far as wrenches, I'm a fan of the sawtooth rails that you put in a V formation. That's
right.
my favorite.
Well, these were, like I said, the older style.
Yeah, I
with
use
the
those
chrome
for years. Yeah.
But they start to lose tension, and of course, then like I said, we have the ones with the plastic.
Yes. Yes.
And that. But I tell you another thing on the ones that I don't use a lot of, and we went through a period of rails or in a box.
Oh yeah.
So what I did was I just took the bottom part of the box, and it has the label for the numbers, the sockets.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just leave this in the box, and in the toolbox or in my cart, and that's there.
I go one further. I highlight those numbers like with a tire chalk or something, so I can.
Yeah.
Because I was working at the shop with another guy's tools, and we had Snap-on sockets, and I even said, why can't they be like Matco and laser engrave those sockets so that old guys like us can see the size? Yeah, that beautiful, absolutely beautiful, no question about it. I'm sitting there like turning it, getting the light right, and on a chrome socket, it's even worse. Actually, the black ones are not that great either. Truthfully, in my opinion, the Snap-on stuff that is, for the lettering, it's very hard to see, and you spend half the time trying to find that right socket, But
yeah, I had a older guy. He's retired now, but I always got a chuckle because he would steal his wife's fingernail polish.
Yeah.
And he had 3 different colors, and it was on the 3 most common sockets. He had a blue, a red, and a yellowish color.
Okay.
And that he painted the sockets that color so he could find them.
The whole socket? He did the whole socket?
Yeah. Well, he just put a line on the socket down on the bottom. But I asked him, I said, what paint are you using? He goes, don't tell my wife, but I steal her fingernail polish.
Yeah. Right. Hey, whatever works. It's a nice enamel, and it's strong. Yeah. That's for sure. Very sure.
So
yeah, well, you got to do what works. Like you said, you got to try it, and you got to talk to other people. But the tool storage thing is big, and like I've always complained to you about, now I started buying new tools again, and the wrenches come in the foam, or they come in like maybe just a blow molded plastic case, and those things don't fit in the older toolbox like I have.
Yeah.
So the tool companies are out for us old guys because they want to sell us a toolbox is what they want to do. And believe me, I'm not against it. It's a big outlay. And then it just doesn't fit. So now you got to take it out and find other storage, or it never.
Yeah, it was funny. When I was probably, I don't know, 10 years into turning wrenches, I ran out of room in my toolbox. So I started taking everything out of the blow molded cases or out of the holders, and then I had it all laying around in the box trying to make more room.
Yeah, not much.
And of course, you start losing stuff or can't find. And it's funny that I ended up spending, once I got out of turning wrenches and started selling tools, then I started looking for those cases and looking for those boxes to put the stuff back in. So
I know.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. So the other cycle that we talk about is, again, like I said before, what guys did on their cars this year, what they may want to do next year. You're the perfect candidate for making a New Year's resolution. What do you think? You got something you would dare to say out loud?
Well, I'm hoping, and I'm going to need a little help from some of my friends. Ray's one of them that's going to keep me motivated, but I want to have the Mustang rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, moving.
Okay.
And I started actually the day after Thanksgiving, I started. And man, after the 30 years of the car apart, I've spent the last 2.5 weeks trying to find all the parts.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been, I thought I had them all in the car, most of it in the car. And, of course, part of it's cleaning up, getting things ready. I'm doing some, electrical work now, putting new lights up over where the car is. That's why it's really dark behind me.
Speaking of lights, the phone light went off, so let's go
All right.
to the phones and say, hi, Coley, you're on with the Motor Mouths, Ray and Brian.
Hey, Ray and Brian, how you doing? It's Mike.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, Mike.
What's going on? I heard your topic of socket holder ordeal, and I'm thinking of switching over to what Brian has in the rails because, as you know, Ray, those pegs that I have don't hold too well.
Brian, this is the guy whose tools I was using the last couple days, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
He has those plastic trays with the porcupine fingers that you slip the socket over. Not a bad idea, except I noticed like one or two of his, the thing that get broken or bent. And
yep.
Yeah, so you're looking to go with
if you're working in front of your toolbox, it's definitely handy. But if you're moving your tools around, you could lose that whole set in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I did. And I did yesterday because I took that whole set over to where I was working on my car and I put it on this bucket. And then when I was moving things around the end of the day, oh crap, it fit, bing, they all fell all over the floor. There was so Brian, I had the shallows, the mids, and the deeps, all 1/4 inch. All over the floor. I'm like, oh my God. Now you're chasing them around the floor.
Yeah, like Mike said, I mean, those are really nice if you're working in that spot and don't have to move that. That's the problem. We got to move or carry something, and it's hard. So that's why I keep going back to the rails.
Right.
My favorite set of rails came off of a Matco truck, actually. One of the guys at the shop has one. I think it was I don't know how you say it, AVT or ABT sockets he bought off the Matco truck. Came on a nice blue rail with black.
Yeah, that's what I use, the ADV. It's ADV socket set and the rails.
Nice.
Those are great.
Well, Mike, you do have some of your sockets in the magnetic trays, which are the ones that I like.
Yes.
I like it because that's where I first saw it at your shop. Somebody had them stuck to the wall. I'm like, But the beauty is you could take it outside or wherever you go, and they're in the magnetic case. The problem I find at home, when you put them in the toolbox, they really stick to the toolbox. So you got to get you need claw fingers to get underneath. You need a body tool to pry them off. They should put a pull tab on them or something.
The problem with those in the body shop is the magnet collects all the metal.
Yeah.
That's another problem with Matt. You're absolutely right.
I don't know. Every time I'm in a body shop, I seem to just collect dust. I come out of there looking like a chimney sweep.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. So, yeah, Mike, I mean, we were talking about that, how I told Mike Brian that I think, I need a couple days in his box to kind of clean it up for him because I'm a definite regimented clean freak when it comes to tools. And I said, man, I'd love to get in here and just start. But, yeah, it's his box.
It definitely needs it. I need to find. I don't know if they sell those rails separately, Brian, or I got to find something close to it because I need to change up my socket setup.
Yeah, they do sell them separately.
So we can place an order.
We can place the order.
Mike, you'll be placing orders through me for. I'm gonna have to start getting like an ice cream wrap. I'm gonna be like the order guy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, they have them in 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch. So
are they listed in the catalog?
they might be. It might. It's probably in the breakdown.
Mike, do you have the Matco catalog?
I believe I do. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you find something, you find part numbers, let me know. I'll send them over to Brian, and we'll see if we get them. And then
yeah, like I said, all you gotta do is let me know what you're trying to do, and we'll get you straightened out.
Right.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna need 6 for 3/8 and 6 for 1/4.
Right. So, any car resolutions in your new year, Mike? Do I dare ask?
Hopefully get the El Camino painted.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. Like you said, once it's painted, now you got to keep it in rotation, and you don't want to stick it in a storage container.
Yeah.
You want it where it's going to get air, and you want to use it. So space becomes the problem.
That's what I'm hoping for. Just getting that car painted, and then figure out where it's going to go.
It's the curse.
What year El Camino?
It's 86.
Oh, 86.
Nice. It's got the SS dash in it, and it's got a nice small block in it. It's you might put a Grand National rear in it.
It's got the four square headlights, right?
Yeah, 4 square.
Yeah, very nice. And it's you still stuck. You still got your color combination all figured out. You haven't changed or anything.
Yeah, it's still going with like a blue, like a bluish purple, and I don't know. It's something different, It's not really like a numbers matching desirable car, so might as well do something crazy with it.
Yeah, do what you want. Hey, it's your car.
Those were two-toned, right? Are you going to, they had like a different shade on the bottom with you going to keep it that way, or you're going to do it all one color?
I'm probably going to go all one color, maybe some pinstripe on it. Yeah, originally it's silver with a white bottom, which is kind of a weird color combo.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, but not bad. That was a good looking car. So let's see. I think I have a picture here I can show Brian. I'm sure I have.
Yeah, that's not bad. Well, my F-350 was white with a silver bottom, so a little different way. But I never thought it was a weird combination until somebody asked me why I painted it that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the way it came.
Originally bought as a parts car, and then just turned out to be too good to rip it apart, so I put it back together.
Oh yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, I just showed him a picture. It was a while ago from when you had the shop. Got the little spoiler in the front. Yeah, it's a nice car, and they are popular. I know people. My friend Cliff's always saying he's looking for an El Camino. People like them. They really do like the cars. So, they are.
When we picked up that rear end, we put it right in the back of the car.
Yeah, exactly. It's a car / pickup. That's how they were marketed and sold. A lot of guys on the farms, like ranches, they wanted a car. They wanted to be able to throw hay in the back, but they wanted to take it into town. They don't want to take the old F-100, So the El Camino with a Ranchero was the perfect choice. Yeah. I think Ford beat GM to the punch on that. The Ranchero came out first, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Then again, the El Camino was out in '59. I know there was a '59, so I don't know. Brian, do you know how far back the Ranchero goes?
I can't. I was just sitting there trying to think, but I know that I had a customer that had. I think it was was it a '58?
Okay.
That's the one with the cat's eye hood lights.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
and everything.
Go back to the '50s. Cool.
But maybe they did it for a short time, and then I don't know the whole history. But
right. Well, we're gonna have to look that up off air because we're gonna have to jump.
Oh yeah, it's that time.
It is. Mike, thanks for the call. Always a pleasure talking to you. And I'm going to see you soon because I was looking for a spare wheel for my car, and I forgot to measure the back spacing, so I'm going to have to stop by and do that. So
no problem.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, Mike. So long. Okay, that was Mike from the shop. That was Junior. So so that's it. We all have resolutions. We all hope we're going to do stuff, and some will get done. You know what? The beauty is there'll be other things that'll get done that we didn't think were going to get done. But Brian, yeah, you will be a happy man once you get yourself rolling. I can guarantee.
No problem. I appreciate everybody. Be safe. Watch out for the first, and stay away from the tequila.
And what do I tell the people waiting for me out in the parking lot to when I get out of here?
Don't follow them home.
We'll hit you with something. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Brian, thanks for filling in for the last show of the year for MatcoMan Brian, Ray Guarino, Motormouth Radio. Chris will be back next week. I'll be back with him. And check us out on Playing in Traffic on Thursday nights, too. Hopefully, we'll be there this week. All right?
I hope so. Take care, Ray.
90.3 WHBC. Over and out. See you guys. Bye.